So this is how to do the Byzantine portrait using the tracing method. Okay, so the first thing that you have to do is have a picture of yourself. You want to make sure it is in the portrait mode, and you want to bring it in. Once it's like this, you can actually adjust the size, rotate it, and make sure it fits to the bottom of the screen. Click done. Okay, I'm just tilting my screen so that it goes properly. Now you're going to add a layer. And whatever tool you want, I prefer the pencil tool. You are going to select it, and then you're going to use black. Once you have this all in place, now your job is to trace your face. Okay, so like we've talked about before, tracing is only really okay in art if you already know how to do the basics. But since this assignment is based on painting, not on tracing, or not on your actual drawing, then that's okay. So make sure you're careful though when you're tracing, you're not rushing. You want to make sure that you trace all your features. And you don't have to do it like exactly. I'm not sitting here counting out all the individual hairs on my eyebrows. I want to just do it enough so I have a general shape of where everything is. I know where it's going. Okay, so on the top here, my head got cut off, so I'm just going to add that in. Okay, and then I'm going to continue tracing. I want to make sure that I have my hair. I'm trying to also capture the movement that my hair is following because I want to make sure that I know where all the overlaps are. I'm going to extend my hair so that it's a bit longer and it fits more with the Byzantine women's style. Okay, and then you do your shoulders. Okay, so right now I'm going to click that. I want to make sure that everything is where it should be. Then I'm going to make my picture transparent, and I'm going to tidy up the rest of it while that picture is transparent, because this is the outline that I'm going to be working with. So I want to make sure that this outline has everything I need. Okay, so this is about right. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is pretty simple. I'm going to click on the bottom here. I'm going to make a new layer, and this is going to be my first color layer. I want to make a layer for every different aspect of coloring I do. So for me, that means I'm going to make a layer for my skin. I'm going to make a layer for my hair. I'm going to make a layer for a lot of different things. Okay, I'm going to make sure that the picture is visible. Then I'm going to go to my color select tool and click on the eyedropper. Now the eyedropper will give me this weird bullet shaped thing. I'm going to click on an area of skin that is like a neutral area. So I don't want to go on my cheeks where it's red or in a shadow where it's dark. I'm just going to try and click on an area that is pretty neutral. And then you'll see that color come up. Once you have that color, click on your empty layer and select a brush tool. It can be any brush that you like. So this is acrylic, oils, color builder. Let's try this one and see how that works. Oh, so I'm on my new layer. I'm gonna make this small. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of that, so I'm just gonna click on this one. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cover this full area with the same skin tone. So this is my basic skin tone. I want to make sure that I have the full area covered with it, including my face. Now, as long as the pencil layer is at the very, very top, that should always remain visible. If the skin tone layer was above it, like for example, like this, I would be going over top of my pencils, but I want to make sure that they're clearly visible for me while I paint. Okay, so I don't have to be neat. Okay, once this is done, I'm going to get my smudging tool. So whichever one you prefer, there's brushes, there's like the actual smudgers, and then I'm going to smooth out the skin. This one's my favorite. Okay, and you're trying to go for that even, smooth skin tone. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to get my eraser tool and I'm going to clean it up. Okay, so that means I'm just going to take the skin tone color off of the areas that it doesn't belong. Make sure it's nice and tidy and I've stayed in the lines. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing highlights and shadows, just like if we were doing anything else. So to do that, I select this and I just move this circle up to create the lighter skin tone. Then, referencing my picture, I already know where my highlights are. You put in your highlights. Like I said, I'm using the airbrush tool to do this, which I find to be very effective. It doesn't really matter because I'm blending it all in anyway, so that's not going to be a huge deal. Okay, then back to your smudging tool, and then you want to blend those highlights in. Okay, I have my highlights in now. Now I'm going to continuously do this back and forth. So that means I'm going to always be blending, always be adding my highlights in, taking them out. Of course, the last aspect of this is the shadow. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to create a shadow color, which is usually a brown if you have the same skin tone I do. Then I'm going to go to my paintbrush tool and make it very small. Remember, we want to go sparing with shadows, so you go very, very light with the darker colors. You don't want to overload your body or your face with darker colors. It gets very difficult to get rid of them if you do that. Okay, and I'm just selecting all the areas where there would be a shadow on my face. So under my neck is a good one. Down here, down here. Okay, then I'm going to get my smudging tool again. And I'm going to smudge them in. It's too big. Okay, so now that you've seen my highlights and my darks, I just keep repeating the process over and over. So then I'm just going to add more lights. Re-bring in the highlight. And then smudge it out and keep going back and forth until I find the consistency that I'm looking for in my skin tone. Okay, so that's going to be that tutorial. The next one that we're going to do is going to look at the hair and the clothes and the other aspects. But this one was mostly the most important because we're getting our skin tones down, which are the most noticeable things. We're getting our highlights down and we're getting our shadows down.